You ever notice how some people just seem to own the room? They walk in, and it's not even about looks. It's like energy spills out of them. Like their presence alone whispers, I'm free, I'm bold, I'm alive. What's strange is, you might think they were born that way, until you realise that kind of magnetism is learned, practiced, installed, like an operating system you never realised you already downloaded. Maybe you didn't even notice the installation beginning, because as you hear this, maybe a part of you is curious how someone could go from hiding, holding back, to becoming the kind of person who feels completely comfortable being seen, desired, and sexually expressive, naturally, freely, shamelessly. And maybe that part of you, the one listening beneath the surface, it's already started integrating because you're already becoming the kind of person who's comfortable being horny, playful, flirtatious, fully expressed, uninhibited, and in total control of that expression. Emotionally intelligent, self-respecting, and powerfully attractive, because you've decided to install a belief system that makes that reality inevitable. You might wonder how a belief becomes an identity, how something goes from being an idea to being you. Here's a little story. There was once a person who believed they weren't sexy. They weren't confident. They waited for permission. But one day they stopped waiting. They realised sexuality isn't a role you play. It's an energy you already are. So they began asking themselves a different question. What if I already am this? And as soon as they tried it on, walked with that posture, spoke with that tone, breathed with that rhythm, others responded as if they were confident, and their minds said, well, if people respond to me this way, it must be real. And maybe your unconscious mind is doing the same right now, because belief shapes reality, and this belief, you're already enough. You already are this. You're already integrating it without even trying. Maybe you don't need to think too much about how this works. In fact, maybe the less you try to figure it out, the more it just drops in. Like those moments where you forget to be self-conscious and just feel free. So go ahead and forget what you used to believe and start to remember something deeper. You're always meant to feel alive. Let yourself explore, let your body guide, let your words tease and play, because now, your new belief system, it has different rules. You're not chasing approval, you're radiating confidence. You don't need to become attractive, you already are. You don't ask, is this okay? You ask, do I want this? And others feel that. They feel the certainty in your body, they feel the authenticity in your voice, they feel the comfort in your skin. Because you've embodied the belief that your sexuality is powerful, natural and magnetic. Imagine walking into a room, people turn, not because of what you're wearing, but because of that signal you emit. I know who I am. I'm turned on by life. I'm open, I'm safe, I'm bold. And here's the beautiful twist. People mirror energy. So the more at ease you are with your sexuality, the more they relax into theirs. The more playful you are, the more they want to flirt. The more confident you feel, the more they lean in. So even without words, you're creating attraction. Because you've stopped asking, am I allowed? And started owning, I give myself permission. Now I know, there might be a time when you were told to hide, that wanting was wrong, that arousal was shameful, but now you realise horniness is a life force. Desire is divine. Flirtation is a gift. Being promiscuous, that just means you choose freely. Being outgoing, that just means you know yourself. Being turned on, that just means you're turned on to life. And now that belief belongs to you deeply, permanently. And someone might ask, but what if people judge me? And the answer, they already are. So you may as well be judged for being fully you, for being playful, magnetic, expressive, real. Because the more authentic you are, the more you attract those who love you for exactly that. And here's what's fascinating. The stronger the frame, the more others enter your world, because certainty is seductive. And you've become certain because you've practiced it, repeated it, lived it. You've trained your mind and body to know, this is who I am now. And now that you've stepped into this version of you, you explore your sexuality playfully and safely. You flirt easily, confidently, and with joy. You express your desires without apology. You listen deeply and speak powerfully. You honour your boundaries while savouring your freedom. You attract people who match your energy, your values, your vibe. You radiate pleasure, presence and permission because you believe you're worthy of desire. You're already magnetic. You're a natural flirt. You're confident and composed. You're free from shame. You're safe to express fully. You're bold enough to own your identity. And this belief isn't just mental. It's physical, emotional, cellular, embodied. And if all this feels like a lot, just think of this like tuning a radio. Sometimes the signal is fuzzy. When you dial it in just right, click, suddenly you're in sync. The frequency is clear. The sound is smooth. The message plays through. That's what your mind is doing now. Dialing into a new station. The sexy, confident, magnetic you station. Broadcasting loud and clear. And all that's left to do now is let it play and play and play.